of the great things about Intacct, and one of the reasons why it's so supported in documentation, is because of this chatter feature down here on the bottom. So on any transaction or any project or any vendor or customer, we have the ability to comment about that record. We can tag individual people. So you can see at this first comment, Emma Ward, that's the user I'm logged in as, tagged Josh Barrett and said, this attachment shows $43.51. Why don't the amounts match? And Josh would have received an email saying that I asked him a question. And when he clicked on that email, it would bring him right to this transaction. He would be able to see the screenshot and the transaction itself, and then respond back to my question. Oh, I added some scrub brushes after the attachment.
Eric, there was a question that came in regarding the AICPA endorsement, and I thought maybe this is a good time since you're on this. Why did the AICPA endorse this over other accounting software packages?
That's a great question, and part of it has to do with the auditability of the application itself. So this record keeping here, no longer do I have to search emails about questions about a certain transaction if I needed to. I can have that conversation take place on the record itself. I can have the backup on the attachment itself. Some of you are using things like Sage Paperless or TimberScan. And if you are, then there's a drill back right from the transaction itself to those systems to be able to access anything that was put into those systems. And so the traceability, the auditability of the transactions is all there, as well as an audit trail of how this transaction was processed over time. So if there was approvals, if there were edits made to the transaction, we can see all of these things that on the audit trail. It was created, an attachment was added, and then it was submitted for approved, and then it was approved by Emma. So Josh created it, Emma approved it. This budget, spending with budgets. So there was some evaluation of the budget. Okay. So we can see kind of that trace back of that transaction over time. We also have the ability to look at and enforce budget amounts. So this button here that says show the spending insight is going to show me what the budget amount is for this specific coding. So for this job, this cost code in materials. So you can choose which dimensions you're budgeting on. So if you didn't want to budget for cost type, for example, and you just were doing it on job and cost code, you could leave it at that. But we can see that the budget was $3,060, and this transaction was the $6,350. So I can see the remaining amount. So again, the approver would have that all at their fingertips when they go to look at this transaction for approval process. So the AICPA endorsement has to do with record keeping, has to do with enforceability of audits, and audit trails, the traceability, has to do with the attachments and backups. All of those things make the system itself very easy to configure and audit so you can trace back to the details.